I'm going to tell you an absolutely incredible story about a man who went from a coma to a team captain and from rock bottom to a multi-millionaire. And you know what? It all started with one single tiny habit.
So picture this. It's a beautiful sunny day. You're at a school baseball field. You can hear the crack of the bat, the crowd cheering. It's just a normal game. And there's a young boy standing just off to the side, waiting for his turn to bat. A totally normal moment that he's been through 1,000 times. But this time was different.
The batter up at the plate, he swings with everything he's got. But somehow, the bat just slips right out of his hands. And it goes flying through the air, this heavy wooden bat spinning like a missile, heading straight for the boy on the sidelines. And bam! It hits him, square in the face, right between the eyes. I mean, the impact is just sickening. His nose is shattered, his skull is fractured in multiple places, and when he finally opens his eyes, all he sees is a circle of terrified faces looking down at him. Okay, so they rush him to the school's medical room, and you can just imagine the chaos. The nurse is trying to figure out how bad the damage is, so she asks him a really simple question. What year is it? He answers, totally confident, 1998. But it was 2002. 4 years of his life just vanished from his memory. The nurse tries again. Who is the president of the United States? He replies, Bill Clinton. The correct answer, of course, was George W. Bush. Right then they knew this was a really, really serious brain injury. And then his teacher asks him the easiest question of all. What's your mother's name? And there's just silence. A long, painful pause. It takes him 10 whole seconds to remember the name of the woman who raised him. Patty. By the time he got to the hospital, his brain had started to swell uncontrollably. He slipped into a deep coma. Things got so bad, so fast, that the hospital actually called a priest to come and comfort his parents. They were preparing for the worst. But this wasn't the end. Miraculously, against all odds, he started to recover. A few months later, he was back on that baseball field, but everything had changed. This, right here, this was his turning point. This is where a devastating setback became the setup for one of the most incredible comebacks you'll ever hear. You see, his friends, they were now the star players on the varsity team. But for him, his coordination was off, his strength was gone. He was playing so poorly that he got cut from the top team and demoted to the junior squad. His lifelong dream of being a pro baseball player, it felt like it was just completely over. But he didn't give up. Not at all. He made a decision. He said, okay, if I can't make the big changes right now, I'm going to become a master of the small ones. So while his friends were up all night playing video games, he went to bed every single night at 10 p.m. sharp. He cleaned his room every day, and he started working out, just with small, light weights. Now these habits, they seem almost ridiculously small, right? But their impact, it was absolutely massive. Those small workouts turned into heavier and heavier weights. His physical strength came roaring back. His focus on the field was sharper than it had ever been. He was literally rebuilding himself one tiny habit at a time. His game improved so much that eventually he became the captain of his baseball team. Now, this isn't some feel-good movie script. This is the real-life journey of a guy named James Clear. You probably heard of him. He's the world-famous author of Atomic Habits. And, yep, he's a self-made millionaire.
Okay, so, fantastic comeback story. But you might be wondering, what on earth does recovering from a brain injury and making the baseball team have to do with becoming a millionaire? What's the link here?
Well, the answer boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful word: discipline. The exact same kind of discipline habits that rebuilt James Clear's life from the ground up are the foundation that titans like Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos used to build their empires. So let's break down the 3 core habits that come from this millionaire mindset. All right, let's dive into the first one. Habit number 1 is what I call the rule of 100. And this is all about shifting your mindset from trying to be perfect to just getting things done over and over, especially at the beginning.
You know how it is. Most of us start a YouTube channel and we want our first video to go viral. We launch a product and expect it to be a bestseller on day 1. But self-made millionaires, they don't even worry about the results until they've done something at least 100 times, uploaded 100 videos, made 100 sales calls, analyzed 100 companies. For them, that's the starting line.
Now there's some really fascinating psychology behind why this is so important.
It's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and it basically explains why so many of us quit way too early. Every successful person has to fight their way through this.
So here's how it works. When you start something new, you learn a little bit and your confidence just shoots through the roof. Psychologists literally called this Mount Stupid. You think you've got it all figured out. But then, reality hits you like a ton of bricks. Your videos get 10 views, nobody buys your product, and you fall hard into what's called the Valley of Despair. This right here, this is where most people quit. But millionaires? They know this is part of the process. They just keep pushing, because they know that's the only way to get to the other side.
Okay, on to habit number 2, and this one is a big one. It's called intentional learning. This has nothing to do with mindlessly scrolling through your phone. This is about seeking out targeted, specialized knowledge.
We've all heard that famous quote from Warren Buffett, right? I read 500 pages every day. But here's the key. He's not reading just any old book. He is intentionally learning about accounting and economics and business history, the very subjects that make him a better investor. It's focused.
This is exactly why specialized knowledge is so powerful. Look at Arvind Srinivas, the founder of Perplexity AI. He worked at Google and OpenAI for years. He intentionally learned everything about how their systems worked, and because of that, he saw a gap that nobody else did. Google was a search engine, not an answer engine. His intentional, specialized knowledge allowed him to build a billion-dollar company in a field everyone thought was already dominated.
All right, our third and final habit is a complete overhaul of your mindset. It's about shifting from the default what's in it for me to a powerful philosophy called think, win, win. Let me give you a perfect example. A job interview. Most people go in with a win-lose mindset. They're asking, what's the salary? How much vacation time do I get? It's all about them. But the person who actually gets the job, they're thinking win-win. They ask questions like, what's the biggest problem you're facing that I can help solve? They focus on creating value for the company because they know if the company wins, they'll win too, with bigger raises, better promotions, and more opportunities down the road. So from a near-fatal accident to becoming a world-renowned expert, James Clear's story is proof that monumental change begins with the smallest, most disciplined actions. The rule of 100, intentional learning, and a win-win mindset. These are the building blocks. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What is the first small atomic habit that you can start today to build your own success story?